I am looking at our previous chat and I forgot I posted Nutri-Grain.
Oh yeah, Nutri-Grain.
So I'm like, okay, we're talking about what, cereals or something? Cereal or
Yeah, I think
breakfast food differences? But,
yeah, Australian cereal
Anyways.
and stuff like that. I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming back.
Thank you too.
For another chat. I really enjoyed the last one.
Same here.
And I guess to start things off, I actually asked a friend of mine if they had any questions.
Ooh,
And
awesome.
one of them was, what is your favorite flavor of Super Duper? Are you familiar with Super
What
Dupers?
is it, Super Duper?
Oh, you don't know what a
I
Super
don't know
Duper
what a
is?
Super Duper
Oh.
is. Wait, let me search up.
Interesting.
Super Duper. Is it like?
So I was under the impression this was an Australian brand of popsicle.
Oh.
Do you know these as something else? What do you? I guess my question is, what do you call these?
What did I used to call them? I actually don't remember. I don't even remember eating these.
It's all lost in the past.
Yeah.
Huh? Okay.
Super duper.
Because some people call them like ice pops or like otter. I know otter pops is another thing that's what they're called. I think I call them like freezy pops or ice pops or something like that.
What did I used to call them? I don't even remember.
So you're completely unfamiliar with what this is.
Yeah.
This is foreign to you.
I think maybe I would have eaten it when I was really small, but I don't have any memory.
I see. Well, I'll list the flavors off for you then. We got orange, pineapple, lime, bubblegum, raspberry, cola, fairy floss.
Wow.
Is that cotton candy?
I think we call it
What's
fairy floss.
Okay, and black currant. Fairy floss is not I don't know what that is.
Okay.
Let's see. Oh, okay. We call it cotton candy.
Okay. That's really American.
Yeah, but
cotton candy.
fairy floss is a much cuter name. So out of those flavors, what would be your preference? You think normally?
I think cola. Yeah.
Cola's good.
Coke's good.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
I used to
So
in Australia they have this thing called Sunny Boys. Do you know Sunny?
Sunny Boys? No. What are Sunny Boys?
It's like this ice block, that's like in the shape of a triangle.
Oh, okay. I don't know this.
I think it's similar to the Super Dupers, because it's like.
And so so they're slushy, kind of like a ice flavored, like not ice flavored, but flavored ice.
Yeah. And
what was your favorite flavor?
cola.
Looks like they have Glug Cola, Orange Explosion, Pine Lime Pow. Okay.
And I think they have like raspberry, raz, or something.
Oh yeah. Looks like they got Raz.
Yeah, raspberry, yeah. Oh yeah.
So are these similar to like what? Are you familiar with a slushy or a Slurpee?
Slushy. I love slushies.
Is it that kind of consistency?
It's a little more like frozen.
It's
like it's just like ice, but flavored ice.
Like a popsicle?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. And the whole episode we're just gonna talk about popsicles, so just nonstop. I mean, honestly, I love talking about the different because I think I maybe mentioned last time, but I have a very good friend who lives in Australia, and so I've known him for a very, very long time, and I always, whenever he brings up different foods that we don't know, or if we mention something that he has no idea, it's always interesting to hear about the differences.
Yeah.
Now, I actually asked you beforehand if you had any questions or topics you wanted to bring up. Is there one you wanted to start with?
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
It's about the voice acting industry in America, but
oh, okay.
I think last time we were talking about how in America they don't really have voice acting schools. So like, I was just wondering, how do you guys get into the voice acting industry? Because in Japan, you have to go to a voice acting school, and then from there, you take auditions to get into an agency. And then once you get into the agency, then they kind of give you like auditions for, like anime and games and stuff like that. But if you guys don't have schools there, like how do you get into the industry itself?
That is perhaps the most asked question for all American voice actors, because
really?
everybody wants to know, right? They're like, how do you get into it? How do you get into it? And there's not really a very easy answer for that because, like you said, there are no schools here.
Yeah.
So a lot of us just started doing it online. You know,
Online.
like you know, for me personally, I started just making my own stuff. You know, you know, there are like fan projects you can do. Like you can.
Really?
I used to take like comics and I would do the voices and I edited all all together and put it on YouTube and stuff like that. And then, funnily enough, like one of those projects, there was one called there's a comic called Lackadaisy, and it's been going on for a very long time, and I was a fan of it. Maybe like this would have been like over 10 years ago, like something like that. And I did my own, just as a fan, I did like, oh, this is what I think the characters would sound like if they had a voice, because they didn't have any official voices. And then a couple years ago, they're making a actual animated version of it, and I got cast in the animated version because of the fan stuff I did. So many, because the creator listened to those and really liked it. And that was what so for her, it was, that was the only voice she could imagine for the one character. So for a lot of us, we had to just kind of make our own stuff online. And then there were like, are you familiar with like indie games?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so like independent like games, like, you know, they need people to do the voices so you can audition that way and, you know, send yourself in. And that was how you kind of had to make your start. The closest thing to voice acting school would be, there are voiceover classes you can take. Like some studios will offer like, hey, you know, you take our class and a teacher will teach you like the basics. But it's not like an official school. It's more like you pay for like a couple classes, and then I know that sometimes they will find people that way. If they think, oh, this person's really good, yeah, let's bring them in and see what they can do.
So it's not really like you guys have any auditions to get into a particular agency?
Agencies are a little bit different. For agencies, you do have to submit yourself. And so usually you'll give them like a demo reel or whatever, you know, your resume. And then they'll decide if they want to accept you or not. But it's really, you know, the reason why we get asked that question so often is because there's not a good answer, because it's like a lot of it is just, you kind of have to just work and put stuff out there and meet other people. A lot of it is meeting other voice actors who recognize, oh, you have talent. I can recommend you to somebody else. You know?
Really? Wow.
Yeah. So a lot of jobs that I will book are actually because my voice actor friends said, oh, you need somebody for this kind of character? You should try him. And then they bring you in.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah, it's especially in the, because there's kind of different areas of voiceover, right? Like you have your original cartoons, right? Maybe original cartoons and like that, and that sort of thing. You would audition for maybe the network, the channel, or the creators. But there's also dubbing, where it's a lot of doing the English versions of Japanese stuff. You know, so all any anime that we dub, or any Japanese video games that we dub, that's its own almost different kind of medium. Wow. So in that world, I think a lot of people know each other, and so they'll recommend, oh, you should bring this person in.
Wow.
Or, oh, you're looking for more actors, which I imagine in Japan that doesn't happen, right? I think, isn't it all pretty much like creator chosen?
Yeah, it's like usually we have auditions to audition for like so most of our jobs are like chosen through auditions. So like every so often we'll get auditions to audition for a particular anime or like a particular game, and then we'll take our voices with our manager, and then we'll send it over to the people who actually make the game or anime, and then they kind of choose from there. So like sometimes you get like picked, like, the creators will be like, oh, we want her or him for the voice of this character, but most of the time it's chosen through like auditions. So it's so different to the American way of getting a job, like getting to voice a character. So that's really funny. Like it's interesting.
It's interesting because there are a lot of voice actors who actually don't have agents.
Really?
They're not part of any
like
agency.
Freelance?
Yeah, actually, completely freelance.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not uncommon at all. In fact, sometimes either maybe they don't want to, or sometimes it's hard for some to get into for whatever reason. You can absolutely have a voiceover career and not have an agent. An agent is a big help because I don't know. So for your auditions, are they sent directly from your agency?
Yeah, they're sent directly from the creators to the agency.
Do you ever get any job offers outside, like directly to you, and then you give them to your agent, or is it always from your agency?
It's most of the time it's from the agency. So
I see.
Yeah, like we don't personally get auditions from the creators. It's always the creators have to ask the agency, and then the agency will ask us, kind of thing.
I see.
Yeah.
So I will get auditions from my agent directly, but I also have been contacted directly.
Wow.
And then in some cases I will give it to my agent to take care of, and in some cases I'll do it by myself.
Wow.
So that's why when I mentioned you don't actually need to have an agent. An agent is extremely helpful because that's more opportunities.
Right.
You get sent more auditions. But I know many people who for a long time booked a lot of work, but just through their own, like, being recommended by others and their own kind of hard work, I guess. So it's I would say it's tougher because it's kind of like, here there's no guarantee you'll ever be in an agency, and you kind of have to fight for yourself.
Right.
There's no, like, it would be nice if there was like a program like, hey, here's voiceover school, and then obviously the competition is extremely difficult. I know, like, I'm not saying the way the Japanese way is easy. Of course, it's very tough.
Right.
But at least there's kind of like a viable method. Whereas when people ask me that question, I go, just make things, put it out there, and start connecting with other voice actors who are trying to make it in the industry. Because so much of it here is just, who do you know? And if you have a good reputation and a good work ethic, then you will usually get recommended to things. So I actually had some questions for you on the voiceover side.
Yeah, sure.
So I actually watched You Were on Trash Taste.
Oh yeah.
And so I actually watched it because I didn't want to like ask the same questions you've already been asked.
Thank you.
And it was actually a really great episode.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
And so, like, and for those of you listening who haven't seen that, I recommend it. Like, your story of how you got in, of how you basically said, I'm just going to fly there and work it out, that's crazy. That is, you have a lot of guts.
Oh, thank you.
So I definitely admire that work ethic. You did mention something that I thought was interesting, is that for an anime, you will get a CD in advance.
Yes.
What is that a CD contain?
Okay.
Like finished animation or storyboards or animatics or what?
We get CDs of like the storyboards. I don't know how.
Okay.
Maybe the storyboards in Japan is a little bit different to the storyboards in America. I'm not really sure, but it's kind of like really rough drawings of the characters. And sometimes the characters itself are moving, sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're like stick figures with like simple faces.
So they're
on them.
videos.
Yeah, they're videos. And they have like time codes on them.
Yeah.
And so you kind of like, you get a CD and you play it at home, and that's like a really, really rough version of an anime, like one episode of an anime.
Okay.
Yeah, and so...
And is this typical for all productions?
Most productions. sometimes they don't have CDs, and you just take the voices when you get to the studio, and then they kind of add the animation afterwards.
Okay.
But most of the time you get a CD with like those really basic videos, and you have to make sure that your lines fit into that time frame.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, because we don't get that at all. Nothing like the closest thing to that is that for cartoons, sometimes they do send the storyboards if they have them.
Okay.
Like so, but it's not a video. It's like a whole document, like a PDF file of just, or like it's like hundreds of pages. So like,
how do you guys? How do you guys?
How do we go through it?
Yeah.
I usually don't.
Oh really?
I usually.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, because it's interesting, because when I was young, and I thought that anime was made the same way that Western cartoons are made, in that you don't have to dub to picture. In cartoons, and when I say cartoons, I mean like, you know, American original cartoons, not stuff that's dubbed. Dubbing is a little bit different.
Right.
You don't have to match anything. You're laying down the audio, and then they're going to animate it based off your voice.
Whoa.
I mean, but sometimes they have storyboards to show you like maybe the facial expressions or things like that. But the timing is actually totally up to you. You don't have to.
Okay. Wow.
You can do it. Yeah. I mean, the director might ask you, "Oh, can you do it a little shorter, a little faster, or a little longer?" But it's not something where you have to watch it and make sure you get the exact time. They just have it. They record all your audio first, and then that's gonna decide what the timing is like.
Wow, really?
So that's why. So for a lot of actually pretty much everything, I don't prepare in advance.
Oh my gosh, really?
Even if they send me a script or a storyboard, I might look at it maybe, but sometimes I just don't even look at it, because when I was first starting out and I was more nervous, I remember for my first cartoon, I practiced a lot, because I was voicing like 2 major characters and it was like almost all the entire episode. And I was extremely nervous. It was my first time ever coming into like a studio, you know, for a job. So then I practiced, and finally, I actually almost too much and almost lost my voice.
Really?
I was over eager, but I was fine. But nowadays and actually in a lot of cases, you don't get any script.
What?
They just say, okay, sometimes I don't even know what, so it's interesting. In some cases, I auditioned and I know the character, so I know what I auditioned, but that's it. They don't give me any script or anything like that.
Okay.
And then you just come in completely fresh, and then you find out immediately then, okay, here's the script. We're gonna go from there.
Wow. Okay.
And then there are some cases where I don't even know, I didn't even audition, but they asked me to come in, so I don't know anything. I don't know what the character is. I don't know what anything is, and you just have to go. For me, I kind of am. When I heard that you were talking about CDs, I was amazed. I was like, wow, you get to watch a whole storyboard video beforehand.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing. I think the closest thing I have to that is if I'm dubbing anime, and the show is already out, then I can go watch a scene and then kind of get a sense of what it's supposed to be. Because that in dubbing you have to match the timing,
right?
You know it. But in original animation, in most video games, you don't, and sometimes you don't even find out what your character like. I was voicing something recently. I can't say what it was, but I had no idea what my character looked like until and I've been recording this character for months.
Wow.
And I only found out, I think a couple days ago, what they actually look like. It's like, oh, interesting. Okay. Oh. So yeah, I guess that's a pretty big difference, sort of from how we are doing pre-production or our lack of pre-production versus you guys.
Yeah, even with in the CDs, they have this thing called boards. And so the characters themselves might not really be moving much, but every time like a character speaks, they have like this it's called boards, but they have like this picture where it tells you, oh, it's this character speaking at the moment. And then once the character's not speaking, that board goes off.
I see.
So
interesting.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
So you guys do it all in 15-minute chunks.
Right.
But you just have do you have what they call beeps? Like beep, beep, beep?
No.
Do you know what I'm talking about at all? Okay, very interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
Japan, you guys are amazing. I have no idea how you can do that. That to me sounds so nerve-wracking. Like one thing you mentioned on the Trash Taste podcast is that if you mess up a line, you just have to go back in silence.
So
oof.
it's really nerve-wracking because when you start, there's no beeps. It's just this red lamp that goes on. And so that red lamp tells you that the recording has started. And once the video starts, there's like this countdown. So it's like 3, 2, 1, and then it starts. But from then on, there's nothing. So it's all just silent, and it's just the voice actors doing their job in the studio. So,
and so to know when you do your line, is that why you have to just study the pre-production CD?
Yes.
Is that or? Wow. Okay.
And
so
they have time frames, so you can kind of note down, oh, my line is from, say, like 10 minutes and 21 seconds, blah, blah, blah. But, yeah. And especially when there's, like, so many characters talking at once.
Yeah.
You need to think about your senpais.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you record, if you're doing, let's say, people are talking over each other in a scene, you're doing all that live?
Yes.
You're not like, wow.
Yeah. And sometimes, because we have tests before we take the actual recording, if there's too many voices talking at once, then we take them separately. But most of the time, it's just we take it at once. And and if your senpai's there, then you have to think about which mic you're going to go into, or if your senpai's talking right after you, then you have to move away after you speak and stuff like that. So I mean, obviously now because of COVID and stuff, we have one mic to ourselves, but
I see. Dude, that's what we usually do if we do group recordings. Now for is it always group recordings, or is that for anime specifically?
Most of the time it's for anime specifically. Sometimes games, we take it together as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Like what sort? Like a. Could you give me an example of? It doesn't have to be a specific title, but like a type of game that would record all together like that.
There's no particular type. I think it's more like how the creators want to take the game. So like if it's like a game where the bond between the characters are really strong, then we take it all together. But if it's just like one character talking by itself most of the time, then we just take it solo.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I forget if I mentioned this last time, but the only time group recordings happen in America are for cartoons.
Oh.
Only, pretty much. Like, and because of COVID, that's gone away. Like,
oh, really?
Like now it's like everyone records separately.
Wow.
The only instant I did do one session where it was me and another actor together. But we were not in the same studio. Like we were, he was actually in the studio next door, but we were completely separate studios. So we were connected through like Zoom, if you know Zoom.
Yeah.
Or like, that was the only time. That's something that I really miss because, what was really fun about recording cartoons, if you were it was that you could have all the actors together, and you could kind of feel the energy of the room and bounce off each other. But even then. everyone got their own mic. We didn't have to worry about moving, you know. That to me is so fascinating. And then everything else though, like it's almost always alone. And especially nowadays with COVID, all my voiceover is alone. Even the directors are usually not there. Sometimes they are now, but usually they're just on Zoom or on a phone or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah. And so the reason why I mentioned beeps, I don't know if I mentioned this last time, but in anime dubbing, like if you're dubbing something that needs to match the lip flaps of a character, every line there's 3 beeps. Did I tell you about this or not?
Slightly, but not in depth, I think.
So how it works is, you know, you're doing a scene and your character is about to talk, you'll hear beep, beep, beep in your headphones, and then on the 4th quote unquote beep, you got to do your line. So it'd be like beep, beep, beep. Hey, nice to meet you. You know, you have to. That's when you know when that line happens, and then for every line cue, it has those same beeps. So maybe I'll say like beep, beep, beep. Hey, nice to meet you. My name is blank. Beep, beep, beep. And then there's your next line. Which is actually very helpful, and I'm surprised that that's not something that you guys use. Do you think that would help you, or are you too used to how it does? How you do it now?
So used to how we do it in Japan. It's like if they do start putting beeps in, I think I'll get distracted from like acting.
Yeah.
Usually,
I could see.
Yeah, I don't know. Because now COVID, we kind of have our own mics, and there's only say 3 or 4 people in a studio at one time. Usually there's before COVID we had 20 or 25 in one studio, but now because we only have 3 or 4 people, we hear the previous recordings of other people through headphones. Do you guys have that as well?
That will happen for dubs, like anime dubbing. Yeah, in that, if somebody was there before and recorded it, they will play the audio. But sometimes if you're the first person, you don't hear anything.
Oh, okay. Because we kind of hear it through headphones, and then we kind of act along with the voices that were taken beforehand. So if there's beeps, I think I'll be like, can you please turn that down?
Yeah. Meanwhile, for me, it's just this automatic, it's just second nature. If I hear boop, 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 I'm gonna go, oh, say the line. You know, it's like we're conditioned almost to do it that way.
Wow, that's interesting.
Now I had some questions about. So you're part of Prima Porta.
Yes.
Which, are we okay to talk about Prima Porta?
We're okay to talk about that. Yeah. So.
Is it technically an idol group, or is it just a music group? How would you define Prima Porta?
This is really, it's there's so many different ways you can call us. Other where I think we were there was a specific way we called ourselves. It was we call ourselves a unit.
Okay.
So a voice acting unit.
Okay.
Yeah, but then there's other groups that call themselves Seiyu idols. Other people call themselves Seiyu artists. Yeah.
Well, what do you consider yourself then? Do you consider yourself an idol?
Personally, I don't really consider myself as an idol because idols spend so much time, practicing their dance and singing and stuff like that. But I'm more I do practice singing and dancing and stuff, but not to the extent of how idols do. So
it's not like your main career.
Yeah.
Your main career is singing.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, I can see that. So I had some questions because I'm not I don't know that much about idols.
Right.
But I'm familiar with them, and I was wondering if are there any restrictions involved, like with that sort of job, like,
Oh.
or even being just a regular Seiyu? Like, are there restrictions that you maybe when you were first getting into the career you didn't even think about or know about?
Restrictions?
Like, from what I understand, I believe some idols, you know, and I'm not saying you're an idol, but like some idols, for example, they can't like do certain things, or like you know, their social media is very restricted, or other things like that, because they want to convey like a certain maybe image,
yeah, that's
or their agency wants to, you know, make, you know, something like that. Do you have any restrictions like that?
Sometimes like it depends on the actual agency.
Okay.
So it's more like if like the agency is like a pretty like strict agency, then they may tell you, you know, like you can't do this, you can't do that, and like stuff like that. But my agency at the moment's pretty free, so I can't really think of any particular restrictions, or maybe like there are restrictions, but I don't take them as restrictions. If that makes sense.
I see. To you, they're not restrictions. They're just common sense, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
And
so, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I think there's a lot of things in Japan where they don't specifically tell you that it's not okay, but you kind of have to sense it.
Is there an example of something like that you can give?
What is it? Like, for example, this might be just normal, but like how you talk and how you know how in Japanese there's like keigo and stuff like that? So like, you know, being able to use that pretty properly and that kind of stuff, but it's not really like restriction.
But that's not really.
Yeah.
I see. So because you have your YouTube channel, and you have a Twitter. Do you ever get told, oh, you can't tweet about this? Besides obvious stuff, like there's stuff. Are you familiar with like NDA? What that means?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like NDA. You know, if like for, you know, for voice actors here, you know, if you're working on something and it's not released, you can't talk about it. You know, legally. Yeah, that's NDA stuff. But besides obvious like NDA business stuff, are you ever like told, oh, you can't like tweet that, or you know, or anything like that, or are you left pretty free to do what you want?
Usually I'm left pretty free to do whatever I want, but we can't really talk about like, you know how in Western countries it's really common to you can say your opinions on whatever you want to say, right?
Yeah.
Like most of the time. So you can say how you feel, like right from your brain. But in Japan, that's not the case. So it's more like you can't really say your opinions as straightforward as you would be able to in the Western countries.
I see.
Yeah. Like you have to say stuff.
Was that... No, go ahead, sorry.
You have to say stuff so that it doesn't hurt the other, like, so it doesn't give a bad reputation of the other, you know, content or whatever you're talking about. Yeah. Yeah.
No, and I think in America, you know, that also, to an extent, there's also that as well, you know. Like, for example, if I'm, you know, like an actor in like a game, I'm not gonna be like, this game sucks. Like, you know, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna, you know, say something that's gonna make companies mad. You know, that's just foolish.
Right.
But I guess when you started, you know, building this career in Japan, was that difficult to sort of get used to, like, how, you know, maybe differently, like for what you just said, like you can't necessarily voice everything you would like to necessarily. Was that hard to adjust to that, or was it pretty smooth for you?
It was pretty hard to kind of adjust to that. Yeah, especially because, like, because I grew up in Australia, I was really used to saying how I felt and stuff like that. But in Japan, like, that's not the case. So trying to hold myself back from saying whatever I thought of was pretty hard. And even with, like, how you look, like, in Japan, they have a, like, it's not really an expectation, but they have this image of how voice actors would look like.
Yeah, yeah.
So like fitting into that image was a little bit like difficult for me too. Like now that my agency is like much more free, I can say like I can dye my hair, I can bleach my hair, or do whatever I want. But yeah, some agencies that's not the case. So that was a little surprise for me.
Interesting. Yeah, because for voice actors in America, how you look has they don't care at all. Like, you know, whereas I understand in Japan, you know, it's almost more like in a way, especially if you can become, you know, popular, you're kind of like a celebrity.
Yeah,
like, you know, how almost like Hollywood actors are have to present themselves. It's a very interesting difference. Like, are you familiar with? Have you seen the show Shirobako?
Oh yes.
There's a really like, I almost would say not even funny, just kind of sad, but kind of weirdly just funny scene where they're talking about, oh, which voice actress should we pick? And one person's saying, oh, well, she's a great dancer, so that's why we should pick her. Oh, well, she's super pretty, that's why we should pick her. And, you know, the creators are saying, why don't we pick who, you know, has the most, you know, the best talent? And like, no, she'll sell good music CDs, like, you know.
I remember that scene.
Yeah, it's a really, it's a funny scene, but also kind of sad that there's so much out of your control. You know, that's something that in the live action world, acting world, that they have to deal with all the time. Like, I do very little live action work, but I have done it before, like live action television work. And in that case, so much then is decided, like, your physical appearance, you know, are you tall, are you short, blah blah blah, you know, and I hate that. I can't. I personally would rather just focus on, you know, is the acting good, you know, that sort of thing.
Yeah, because I like acting itself too. So, like, I'm more like I'm more of a person who just wants to act.
Sure.
So, like, you know, especially if you're, like, in a lot of medias and stuff, there would be, like, expectations on how you should look and stuff like that. And obviously, like, how, like, Hollywood celebrities would be like, there would be people talking about your appearance on social media and, you know, like, oh, you know, did she gain some weight, or did she lose too much weight, that kind of, you know, stuff. So yeah, it's pretty interesting, like how different it is from the American voice acting, you know, thing to like the Japanese voice acting industry. So yeah,
like it's interesting because, you know, like in the idea of like voice actors going on variety shows or TV is unheard of here. That's not a thing that happens. In fact, there are some voice actors who just never show what they look like, you know.
Wow, that's like
maybe like only a couple public photos, but almost, or they're very private. They never show their face if they can avoid it. You know, it's very interesting. Now, your manager,
right?
I was wondering if I could ask, just is your manager a because she listened to the previous episode, right?
Yeah.
So is she a native English speaker, or is her just proficient? Like, is she just very proficient in English? Like, what is her like? How much? Yeah.
She's like totally Japanese, so she doesn't speak any English. So whenever we have like English recordings, I'm the one that kind of translates whatever we're talking about, and I kind of send it to her, and she just checks just in case.
Did you have to translate our whole podcast last time?
Really, basically, not like every single word that we're talking about,
but just the topics that we discussed.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so your manager is not, so she doesn't speak any English.
No, yeah.
Or very little.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was under the impression that your manager listened to it.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So like
And
I can.
is your
So like,
No, go ahead.
sorry. So like for English, podcasts like this one and like say Trash Chase, I'm a little bit more free, if that kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Because you don't have to transcribe every single thing you say.
Yeah.
That's good. I hope it feels refreshing then to get to.
It does, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's good. That's good.
Thank you.
Is your manager assigned to you by your agency, or is that separate?
They're assigned to my agency. So in Japan, for each agency, they would have managers within that agency.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's kind of like.
And is your manager different from your agent? Or do you have an agent?
We don't have agents.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So your manager is kind of like almost like your agent?
Yes.
Huh?
So wait.
Do they deal with like the legal contract?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I see. Yeah, because I think stateside we have agents. Like your agent is who sends you auditions and takes care of your scheduling and the legal, the contracts and anything like that. Manager, I think, is a more separate, like, I don't think any voice actors really have managers. Like, that's more like for big celebrities. Like, that's who's managing your, other aspects of your life and that kind of thing. Right. So, what are your manager's responsibilities?
So, they usually look after the legal stuff. They are the ones that get the auditions from the creators. Okay. And then the auditions, the managers send the auditions to us. When we go to what is it? Like they come to recordings as well to check on like how we're doing and if our acting's good or not. They sometimes give us advice on how we should like act. Whenever we take auditions, first we have to take like audio auditions called tape auditions.
Sure.
And they kind of direct how we should act.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Like live or like after, or like do you send it to her first or do you do it with her?
This depends on the agency, but for me, I take it at home and then I send it to her and she checks it and gives me feedback.
Oh, interesting.
And then if I agree with like what she's thinking, I'll be like, I'll retake it again and send it to her and stuff like that. When we have like video recordings or like photo shoots, she comes to help us out. So like if there's anything I need or just like stuff like that. Yeah.
So pretty hands-on, like very like almost like so you I imagine you spend a lot of time with your manager.
Yeah.
Though. Yeah, I don't ever see my agent ever.
Really?
It's all done through email.
You've never
in fact,
met in
I am not this feels terrible to say. I'm not 100% confident on what my voiceover agent looks like.
Really?
Yeah,
wow.
I've had phone conversations, my situation is a little bit different because I'm with a talent agency that's not just voiceover.
Right.
So I have a main agent, and then I have like a live action agent, voiceover agent, like commercial like sponsorship agent, and so a couple different people for different jobs.
Right.
So, but almost all of it, like I've met my main agent in person because he's the one who kind of recruited me.
Right.
Wow. And we've had dinner before and stuff, but my voiceover agent, I met her like once, and then everything's been through email and phone calls. So like I'm not if I had to tell you if I lined up like 5 people and yet I was like, tell me who your voiceover agent is. I was like, I don't know what she looks like. So that's kind of that's a pretty big difference for us is we don't have that like they're there for all your sessions and all that. I'm still like have a good relationship with them, but not to the level that you might have.
Wow.
Now I feel like I'm talking too much about work. I apologize.
Oh, no. I kind of like this
I
conversation.
do find it.
It's really interesting.
I find it very. Yeah, I actually also find it very interesting. But how about, is there, for you, I know you prepared some questions. Do you have another question or a topic you want to bring up?
Oh, yeah. This is, like, about, like, jobs as well, but...
Sure,
in Japan, we have this thing called character songs.
Okay.
Where we sing as the character that we voiced in a game or an anime. Do you guys have that kind of stuff?
Not at all.
Wow, okay.
So the closest thing would be if there's a song in the show, you know, like I've had to sing for I've had to sing for a cartoon, and then there's a game that it's not out yet, but I had to sing for. But like what you're talking about, where it's like character singles, not at all. That's not.
Okay.
Not, we have nothing like that here.
Wow. Okay.
I definitely know what those are, though, because I've definitely listened to them before. And I think it's awesome that like the characters get to like sing, because especially sometimes you get to hear characters who would never sing, you know, sing.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. But yeah, we don't have anything like that. I think that would be funny, but I don't see that happening anytime soon.
Wow, because in Japan we sing the character songs, and then if we ever do have like events or like concerts, then we sing there as well. So like, you know, like you guys don't have that, right? So that's like
no. And
wow, that's
and actually it's so because I know for Seiyu there's a lot of expectation to be able to sing. That is not something that we have to worry about. Like there are plenty of voice actors who I know cannot sing.
Oh, wait, so like when you have auditions for like a character, is it just like solely on acting? Like do they like you just act in front of the creators?
So usually for auditions, the very first thing will just be you're at home, you record an like an MP3 and you send it in. That's usually what it is. Just so they give you like, here's 5 different lines, and sometimes they give you a picture of the character and a description, and then they say just record these and then send it in. And depending on the production, sometimes that's enough, and then you just go in. That's it. You don't have to go in. If it's like a bigger thing, then you might need to come in. Nowadays it's over Zoom, but you used to go in studio and like the creator is there, and then you do it again in front of the creator. That's usually when there's like maybe like 5 of you left or something.
Wow.
You know, we call those callbacks.
Oh,
but,
callbacks. Wow.
Yeah.
That's
they call you back to do the do the next step.
Right.
Yeah.
That's similar to how we do it in Japan. Like, because we take the audition, the audio first, and then we send it, and then if you're like, say, like the last several left, then we go into the studio. But for us, it's more like sometimes it's just acting itself. Only sometimes we have to sing.
Okay.
And sometimes we have to dance as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Especially if they're expecting some kind of event, like if they're expecting to do some kind of event in the future, and they want the voice actors to sing and dance, then they may have dancing auditions as well. So that's really interesting.
I'm just gonna say this: if a voice actress here had to dance, none of us would have jobs. Wow. Singing I can understand. I've had to sing for an audition before because the character did sing. I didn't get the part, but they sing, so that's something you had to prepare to prove that you were able to sing. I mean, in a lot of cases, you know, the singing actor is actually different from the regular actor. They'll
really.
That's pretty common, I think. Like, I mean, you know, like Disney's Aladdin, right? The actors, like Aladdin and Jasmine, their singing actors are different from the, you know, regular actors. So that happens sometimes. Like, you know, they will say, oh, don't worry, we're going to cast somebody else to sing for you.
Okay.
That's pretty common. But if the actor can sing,
Mm-hmm.
then they will, you know, let them do it, which I've done a couple times.
Wow.
But having to dance,
Mm-hmm.
that's astonishing to me. That's
It's pretty
are you
hard.
oof. And do they give you like a routine in advance? Like this is the dance you have to do.
Well, for me, I've only had to do it like once or twice, but they give you this video,
Yeah.
and so you kind of have to practice at home. And they don't have any lessons or anything beforehand. It's just they send you the video, you practice at home, and then you go to the audition.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, if I had to do that, I'd just say no thanks. I'll get
Like,
somebody
dancing
else
is
can
hard.
do it.
It's like, and especially when you're
Oh.
trying to practice it at home, just with like a video,
Yeah.
it's like, it's really hard. Yeah. Wow.
You guys work very hard. That's amazing. Now another question that a friend of mine had is I'm very guilty about I don't do this. Do you do warm-ups before you record? I actually don't.
I do. I try to.
Yeah, what are some warm-ups that you do?
I do the lip roll, like the
okay,
this thing
yeah.
kind of thing. I
Sure.
move around my tongue. I actually I stretch a little bit
Oh,
because
interesting.
I feel
okay.
that kind of warms up my body.
Sure.
Yeah, especially when I have roles where I have to like yell or scream or you know, do that kind of stuff. Then I
Yeah.
like stretch my neck and stuff like that. But
I see.
yeah.
Yeah. I get asked what warm-ups I do and I don't do any warm-ups. I just
Wow,
I
really?
just go in. Yeah. Then that's not me bragging. That's
Oh
just
no
me
no no
being
yeah
lazy.
yeah like but like when you're like acting right like without
Sure.
like warming up, don't you
Mhm.
feel like oh my lips aren't moving as they usually do kind of thing or like
No.
oh really
I don't know
wow
why.
okay wow
But I also, to those of you listening who are aspiring actors, I recommend you warm up, but I
It
just,
helps,
I don't know.
wow
I think for me, just, I don't know. It doesn't, don't know.
Mm.
Again, I'm lazy. That's probably the biggest reason why.
Oh,
But,
no.
now for your list, were there any other ones that were work related? Or are there any ones that
yeah
are
there
not?
are
Yeah.
last
Okay,
question
what else you got?
you know
Sure.
how like for dubbing there's the original, like say, like Japanese anime, or like say game, right?
Sure.
And when you dub those, do you kind of make your tone of voice similar to the original, or does it depend?
That depends.
Oh, okay.
So for anime, I usually will try to match. I'm not trying to copy it, but I am trying to, match the same intention.
Right.
Like, and in some cases, I will listen to the Japanese to get a sense of the voice. Like, there's an anime that I recently started voicing in. I don't know if you know Ranking of Kings.
Yes.
Do you know what this is?
Yes, I saw on Twitter, on your Twitter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I'm voicing the English voice for Kage.
Right.
And I did listen to the Japanese, who is I believe let me check the name. Ayumu Murase.
Oh yeah.
Who's fantastic, and so I went to listen to, the performance, and I did kind of base it off of that.
Oh, okay.
Because just to get an idea of what it should sound like.
Right.
So in that case, yes, there are definitely, but sometimes, more so in the video game space, they don't actually need you. Like sometimes when you're doing a dub of a video game, like for example, if it's like a fighting, I've done some like fighting game dubbing.
Right.
In some cases, you listen to the Japanese, like here's the Japanese, now you do it, and here's the Japanese, now you do it. So sometimes you do it that way. But I've actually done it other times where we didn't listen at all to the Japanese.
Wow, okay.
So, and in that case, then you have more freedom to how you think it should sound.
Right.
But I actually like doing it both ways. Either way is fine with me. Like,
It sounds
I
fun.
kind of enjoy listening to the original and going, okay, what kind of delivery did they do?
Right.
What do they do? And then using that and kind of using it for inspiration for your performance.
Right.
But I also do enjoy creating a new voice. You know, it always depends. But yeah, and then because I'm a big nerd, I'm obsessed with seiyuu. So like, you know, if I dub for a certain say, I'm like, oh, I'm dubbing for Kaiba Yamaguchi, you know, or I'm dubbing for Fumihiko Tachiki, you know, like, you know, I'm like, oh, so that most of my peers don't care about that at all. But for me, I'm like, oh, I'm listening. I know who this is. Oh, okay, you know, I wanted, you know, so that's kind of an extra bonus, I guess, for me when
so
when
awesome.
doing it.
Like,
Yeah.
wow.
So I had a question because Japanese, there are Japanese dubs
Right.
of English stuff.
Yeah.
Do you get auditions for that too?
This also really depends on your agency. So like,
Okay.
like there's like particular agencies that are really strong in those areas.
I see.
Yeah, so
Okay.
like if you're in that agency, then you get auditions for those, and you know, you may get several roles for that as well. But for me and the previous agency, for the agency that I'm with now and with my previous agency as well, they were more to like anime and games. So
Okay,
I've
yeah.
never had an audition for those dubbings for, say, like American movies or that kind of stuff, or like, you know, what is it, like TV shows and stuff like that. So, but it would be pretty interesting to try. I mean, because with those recordings, we hear the English audio while we voice it.
Sure.
So, yeah, I hope my mind won't get confused, but
I
yeah.
see.
But I know that
Is
I know, like, for voice, like, for dubbing as well in Japan, they don't always necessarily, you know, try to make it the same tone or make it the same voice as the
Yeah,
original as well. So that's pretty interesting.
yeah, that's something that like a lot of people in America, when they find out there's a Japanese version, they always want to kind of hear how it sounds because it's really fun to see like what kind of, you know, which say like
Wow.
like, you know, Friends.
Yeah.
Like I remember there were clips of Friends on Twitter, but that the Japanese version, and be like, oh, who voices Joey, and you know the Japanese version of Friends. Like that's, you know, that's always kind of interesting. And you know, I've seen like, you know, cartoons that I voiced, but there's a Japanese version, and part of me is like wondering like who are they gonna get from, you know, my character, you know. I'm curious, but yeah, so that's also a very interesting sort of I guess a different type of job that I guess both sides have in their own way.
Yeah.
Now, did you have any questions that were non-work related,
Um,
or were they all pretty much like work related?
there was one that was non-work related.
Yeah, what do you got?
I saw on your Twitter, right? And recently you've been to like escape rooms. Is that a thing in America at the moment?
Not at the. I mean, it's been for a while. Do you know what an escape room is?
Yeah. We have those in Japan as well.
Have you done one before?
Yeah, I love them.
They are extremely fun. Yeah, those have been around for quite a while now.
Oh,
like
really?
I
Okay.
yeah, I mean, I think the first one I did was maybe like 5 years ago or something like that.
Okay.
But they're pretty popular. I know they were struggling when COVID happened, but
Right.
now that things are a little safer, I've been consistently getting like groups together to let's do this one, let's do this one. You know, if you ever visit and want to do an escape room,
I
you know,
would
let me know.
love to.
One of my favorite ones I've done so far. The last one we just did was a space one, which was fun.
Wow.
Where you're in, like in a rocket and you're like you gotta figure out how to steer the rocket away from the planet. But there was a really interesting one we did called it was like a tiki time.
Tiki time.
And you're inside this room, and usually in escape rooms you have to you know, get out before the time runs
Right,
out.
right.
But in this one, you actually had to find these coins that extended the time. Wow. Like, it's like, oh, extend my 5 minutes, and you put it in, like, this machine, and then, because you want to actually solve all the puzzles.
Right.
Not to escape, but to get 100%. And then we did. It was very satisfying.
Wow.
But
they're really
yeah,
fun.
They're really fun, and there's a lot of them here. Even just Los Angeles, there's a lot.
Wow.
I think I've actually started keeping a log of, like, where, like, the date we did it, what's it called, the location, and I haven't lost one yet. I think I've done 13 so far.
Well, you must be really smart then.
Maybe, I don't know about smart, but maybe determined, maybe. But I really enjoy puzzle solving, and so I'm like hoping to keep my winning streak going. But yeah, that's been a lot of fun lately, is doing that.
Yeah.
Now I had a question for you that's non-work.
Okay.
So karaoke. I love, like, for me, the best way to do karaoke is, you know, Korean Japanese style, right? Like, not like in a private room with your friends. You know, I cannot stand, like, American style is like doing it in front of a crowd in a bar. That sounds terrible.
Yeah,
no
same,
thanks.
Same.
Now I imagine are there any favorite anime songs that you like to sing in karaoke?
I've been saying this from, like, since I like started my voice acting career, but I love how do you say it in English? Yukari Tamura.
Oh yeah.
I love her songs.
Yeah.
So whenever I go to karaoke, I always have at least one song that I sing.
What's your favorite by her that you like? This is your go-to.
Fancy Doll.
Too hard to choose. Fancy Doll. And which one is that?
It's like, wait, let me just check it out.
Is it from a show, or is it just one of her singles?
I think it was from a show.
Let's see.
Oh, it's Fancy Baby Doll.
Okay.
Oh, it's just a song.
It's just a song.
I think.
Okay.
But she does sing for for anime as well, and I know the start of the song, but the name isn't coming up. Just one second. Fantastic Future is from like a anime. I don't know how to say it in English.
What's the Japanese title?
変態王子と笑わない猫. Maybe if I search it up, it would come up. English. Okay.
Let's see. Yukari Tamura. What's the name of the song?
The Hentai Prince and the Stony Cat.
What?
Okay,
the Hentai Prince and the Stony Cat.
That English title just sounds really weird.
Sounds really sus.
Yeah,
okay.
But it's a really cute anime.
Okay.
It was like an anime, like I think 10 years ago, maybe.
So there's the Hentai Prince and the Stony Cat, which I've never heard of this in my life, but it sounds interesting. Any other songs that are like your classic? Do you for when you do karaoke, do you go by yourself? Do you go with a group? Like, what's your usual?
I usually go by myself.
Oh, okay.
Because
have you gone with a group before?
Oh yes, I have. I love going with groups as well. But when I'm by myself, I just go there and just sing for like several hours.
See, I've never done it alone. Like I have a friend who also goes alone a lot. She really enjoys it. It's fun to do it alone, but I've only gone with groups.
Oh, okay.
But I enjoy singing in groups as well.
Like when I was in Australia too, like karaoke's would be kind of something that you would go as a group, not really like by yourself, right? Like in Japan, they have like specific rooms for like people who want to go there alone.
Oh, what's the difference?
It's like you have an actual headphone, you have a mic that's better than the those like handheld mics. They're like those actual like condenser mics and stuff like that. So Yeah.
I did not know that there were specific ones just for people like solo. Huh.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And they have like what is it, like soundproof walls and stuff like that. So yeah, it's pretty interesting.
I see. Huh. Any other songs that come to mind for you?
Yes. I do not know the English name for this, but it's "瞬間 Sentimental" by Scandal.
Oh yeah. From Full Metal Alchemist.
Yes. I love that song.
That's a great song.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, listen, you're talking to a giant nerd here. I know.
Okay.
That's a great
love
song.
Full Metal Alchemist.
Yes. Do you have a favorite character?
Oh my gosh. Alphonse.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Alphonse is great.
Alphonse.
I asked earlier, I don't know if you heard, but have you met Yukari Tamura?
Yes, I have at a recording.
Yeah.
But because we were at a recording, we haven't really been able to like talk a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, she smelled really nice. That just sounds weird.
Oh.
That sounds weird. But I think she had this like perfume on or something. I don't know what she had on, but yeah, I admired her since I was like in Australia. So yeah, she was awesome.
Do you ever tell any of them that, or do you keep it secret? Not secret, but like on the DL, on the down low.
I keep it on the DL.
Yeah, I mean, I
don't want to be like
I get
a
that
nerd
too.
and be like, oh my God.
You don't want to freak them out. Yeah,
Yeah.
I get that.
Oh, yeah.
I've definitely met people where I also keep it. I'm like, hey, nice to meet you. I'm like, I'm a huge fan.
Yeah.
I get that.
In my brain, I'm like, oh my gosh, like
Freaking out.
yeah, but yeah.
Right. For me, some ones that I really like. Do you know Driver's High? Do you know Great Teacher Onizuka? Do you know that anime?
Oh yes, I do.
Larkin Seal.
Oh yeah. Yes.
I love that song. What are some other ones? Because actually in Little Tokyo in LA, there's a couple karaoke spots that actually do have anime and Japanese songs. So,
really?
yeah, it's actually a really good selection. Like I was surprised. Like they even had stuff that I thought, no, there's no way they'll have this. And like because like my favorite anime is Chihaya Furu.
Oh yes.
And they had like songs from that, and that's not popular here. You know, like it's not unpopular, but it's not like a well-known thing. But they had songs from that, so I was very impressed.
Right.
Also, I don't know if you know, or let's see, what else is there? Like Ride on Shooting Star from Fooly Cooly. Do you know that one? Do you know Fooly Cooly? The Fooly Cooly. It's an older show. It was very popular here. It was a Gainax show.
Before, but I've actually never seen the anime.
I see. This was like 2000.
Wow.
And so it was on. We have Adult Swim. Do you know what that is?
Adult Swim. Is that the English name or?
No. Adult Swim is a there's like Cartoon Network is a channel, and then they're at nighttime they have what's called Adult Swim, and they play like adult cartoons or like stuff that kids can't watch.
Wow.
And so a lot of people's exposure to anime was actually Adult Swim, because then you could watch, a lot of us watch Pokemon and Sailor Moon and all these things, but a lot of people were introduced to more adult anime through Adult Swim, those kind of programming blocks. And Fooly Cooly was a very big, one of the first, like Fooly Cooly, Cowboy Bebop, Rurouni Kenshin. A lot of these shows back then is what people watch, and that was their introduction to anime.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, since you're familiar with the term weeb, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. And I imagine we are both fellow weebs. I just wanted to maybe dive a little into the weeb side of things.
Okay.
So something I'll ask some other voice actors is, so when you were younger, or it doesn't be when you were younger, but like, are there any characters in anything that you wish you could have played, or like or any like franchise you're like, this is a bucket list goal for me, like anything like that?
I've always loved Ghibli.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've wanted to since I've thought of wanting to become a voice actor, I've wanted to be in a Ghibli movie, but I think Ghibli has stopped making animation movies.
Besides what Miyazaki is working on right now, right?
Yeah.
There's like, yeah.
Like they do like some like shows, and they do like 3D animation too, but it's not. Well, I don't think it's like the same as the ones that Hayao Miyazaki made several years back.
Is it Ghibli or Ghibli? I thought it was Ghibli.
In Japan, we say Ghibli.
Okay. Yeah.
I've heard so many Western people or like English speaking people saying Ghibli. So yeah, I had a little discussion with my friend who thought it was Ghibli, and I was like, no, it's Ghibli. So I wasn't really sure.
Your friend is wrong. It's Ghibli.
Oh, is it Ghibli? Okay, because in Japan we call it Ghibli, right?
Yeah. Okay, so that is the correct one.
Okay.
Yeah. I thought I was right, but when you said Ghibli, I was like, have I been saying it wrong this entire time? I was having a heart attack.
Yes. It's Ghibli. Okay.
Do you have a favorite Ghibli movie?
Oh, there's so many. Mononoke Hime.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Nausicaa. I don't know how to say it in English. Nausicaa.
Yeah.
Howl's Moving Castle.
Yeah.
Spirited Away. Are my favorites.
Mine is Porco Rosso.
Oh my gosh, that is a good one. I love it.
I do love Porco Rosso. I guess if you let's say theoretically you were given the option, okay, we're traveling back in time, and you can voice a character from one of those movies. Which character would you choose?
Oh my gosh. This is a hard decision.
Yeah.
Sophie from Howl's Moving Castle.
It's a good choice. Yeah. Yeah. And I remember you were talking about on Trash Taste that you would practice by like doing other characters you were watching, right? Which I definitely did the exact same thing when I was so what were some of your like characters that you're like, oh, I'd like to play a character like this character, like, or this archetype. Like, what characters would you like? It'd be great if I could play blank,
Right. Do you know Toradora?
Yes.
I listen to a lot of Kushieda Minori's voices. And
she voices, or she's the red-haired girl, right?
Yeah. And she's voiced by Yui Horie.
Oh yeah.
And I love her voice. And so I used to listen to a lot of her voices, but I would love to voice characters like that, like those like cheerful, happy characters.
Genki kind of. Yeah.
I love Taiga too. Oh, my nerdiness is coming out, but
yeah, that's what I want. For me, often when I connect with people, when I sense there's like a nerdiness somewhere, I'm like, bring it out. That's what I want to know.
Oh, there's so many. Do you know Maoru Penguin Drum?
No, but I know what it is, but I haven't seen it yet.
The main, the girl in the Himari-chan, I love her too. Oh, there's so many animations. It's a really awesome anime.
Is there any like English stuff, like, because we're talking about dubbing, right? Where you go, oh, it'd be fun to be like the Japanese voice of this character. Is there anything like that? Because that's definitely something that happens with a lot of us who are nerds, voice actors. Like if a new anime comes out and we really like it, I go, oh, I'm already listening to which character. I'm like, oh, I wanna try to, maybe I can be that character or that character or that character. Like, sometimes I'll get like auditions, and I already watched the whole show. So I was like, I'm like, I know all these characters. Okay, I really want to, get that. Is there anything like, and you can think of maybe like maybe either American version, or maybe there's something like a manga that doesn't have a voice yet, is there anything like that where you're like, I would love to voice blank in this,
okay. I love romance comedy mangas. I love romance mangas itself, like shoujo manga.
Sure.
I love it. And there's this manga called it was all kanji. Just one second, let me search it up. It's I don't think they might not have an English title. It's called Yubisaki to Renren.
Yubisaki to Renren.
It's like, it's a romance.
A sign of affection.
Oh, is it called that in English?
Yes.
It's about this girl who can't hear.
Okay.
And it's about a guy who gets interested in her, and then it's a really cute story. Yeah.
I see.
And
kind of like not the same exact thing, but like maybe like similar to like a silent voice.
Yes, similar. Yeah.
I see.
I
Okay.
love silent voice.
If there's a character in that you could voice, who would it be if you could choose?
Oh my gosh. Well, I want to try the main character. Oh, I forgot her name.
Yeah. Is it Yuki?
Oh,
Is it Yuki? No,
I think
maybe not.
so.
Let's see.
Let's see.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I guess to actually, there was one thing we don't have to do this because it's kind of goofy, but something that I will do, and I only bringing this up because I remember you kind of talked about it on Trash Taste. So like accents, like how, like, so I have a very good Australian friend, like I mentioned, and sometimes, and like I've heard him so often over the years that I do an impression of him.
Right.
And one time I asked him, like, okay, if I actually try, not making fun of you, but like, how good is my Australian accent?
Right. Okay.
That's something where I was like, have another Australian person here. I'm like, maybe get some critique on Australian accent, and then because you mentioned American accents being hard, can you do an American accent?
I've been trying. I don't know if I can like pull it off like 100%, but yeah.
Do you want to try?
You want to try?
Yeah, you have. I'm sure it'll be better than my Australian. accent.
No, I don't think so. How should I? Should I just start talking in American right now?
Sure. Why don't we write? I'll write a sentence.
Okay.
And then, do you want to go first, or do you want me to You want me to go first?
I'll try going first because I don't want to.
Sure.
Okay.
Let's see. Just something simple like.
Like, whenever I have characters that talk in an American accent, I search it up on the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really.
So here's something just very simple, like something like this.
Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay, let me try. Hey, how's it going? My name's Shir. What's yours?
That's good.
Is it?
That's yeah. Let me give you another. Yeah. Like oh man, you're kicking my ass. I'm gonna sound terrible. What? Let's see.
It's really hard, isn't it? Like trying to like switch between accents.
Yeah, it's accents are always very interesting. Something like this.
Oh my gosh. What have you been up to lately? This is gonna sound Australian, I think. Okay, let me try. What have you been up to lately? Haven't seen you in a while.
That's still pretty good. Yeah.
Is it? Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Wow. Okay. Oh God, now I have to go. Okay.
Okay.
So basically, whenever I do why don't you write something for me to say?
Okay.
And I'll try it.
Oh, what should I write? It's gonna be a little similar.
That's for sure.
Let me make it a little bit Australian. Okay. What about... Okay. What about...
Of course, you do this perfect American accent, so that's the standard now.
How's that?
Okay. I have to try to do it. Okay, not making fun of him. All right, let's try my earnest. Okay. G'day, mate. My name's Sung-won. Nice to meet you. How are you today?
You're really good.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
You're not just saying that?
Yeah. No, I'm not just saying it. It's really good.
Okay. You got throw another one at me.
Okay,
Throw another one at me. Because whenever Americans do Australian accents, usually they're very like, "G'day, mate.
Yeah.
My name's so nice to meet you. How are you today?" You know, it's like, But I think I've heard him talk so much that I've zeroed in on like vowel sounds. Usually that's the trick. Is like So I'm like, okay.
How's that?
All right. What are you up to today? Want to throw a shrimp on the barbie?
Oh wow. You actually sound Australian.
I think you're being courteous. I think you're being nice.
Maybe it's because I haven't been back to Australia in like how many years? Like 3-4 years.
Yeah.
You do sound Australian.
Okay, I'll take the compliment. I think for me, what's something that I like about Australian, like when you say "nice to meet you," you know, I love that. You, how are you today?
Yeah.
Today. Because in English it's very flat. Nice to meet you. How are you today? There's a musicality to accents, especially the Australian accent, that I think is a lot of fun.
But I think I'm not sure, but I think you sound more Australian than I do.
No,
Yes.
no, absolutely not.
Like
no way.
it's really weird because like after coming to Japan and I had a lot more opportunity to like voice roles speaking in English, right?
Yeah.
Like my first like some of the roles that I do, like I'm just speaking in a normal like Australian accent without trying to speak in an American accent. But sometimes people on social media would be like, she sounds like she's talking in an American accent. So I don't like, a lot of people say that I don't really have a super strong Australian accent, but I'm not sure. I don't know how you hear my voice, but yeah.
When I hear you talk normally, there's definitely I can definitely tell it's an Australian
Oh,
accent.
you can? Okay.
Yeah. But then when I hear you, like, again, just can you say what you wrote? What do you that line in an American accent?
You wrote? Which one? What have you been up
What? No, the one you wrote. What are you up to today?
in an American accent?
Yeah.
What are you up to today? Want to throw a shrimp on the Barbie?
Yeah. I think the only thing there may be like, do one more time?
What are you up to today? Want to throw a shrimp on the Barbie?
Yeah. I think the only thing there I notice is maybe Barbie. But otherwise,
Oh.
it's still good.
Really?
Like, yeah.
Wow.
I think you do a very good job of just like, I think with the American accent or the quote unquote standard American accent, it's so boring. You just flatten everything out, you know.
I know you guys say like you and like the R's are like really like Barbie. It's like like you guys say the R as a like a R, but we say like we just say it straight like Bobby.
Bobby.
Yeah,
Yes.
Bobby.
Yeah. So with I guess when you're doing English voice acting, do you like? Do they ever have someone who's a native speaker listen, or is it just the director? I don't know English that well, but it sounds good. Like, what's usually the standard for that kind of thing?
It's usually there's no one checking my English, so it would mostly be me checking my own voice. So they'll be like, "Oh, okay. We're not sure if you said that correctly. So do you want to hear your own voice through the headphones?" And I would hear my own voice, and I'll be like, "Okay, can we like take that once again?" Or, "Oh, that sounds good." Blah blah blah. That kind of stuff. Yeah.
So you almost have to self-direct a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I see. Interesting. Okay. Well, thank you for putting up with that. I just
It was really fun. I love acting.
I actually I went to Ireland a couple years ago for a convention as a guest, and I tried the same thing, and I got compliments. Like like people thought, oh, actually pretty good. So it was funny because I never present myself as like, oh yeah, I'm good at accents. I never say that because I'm not confident enough in my ability.
I'm not confident too. Yeah.
But it's always nice whenever there's like a native speaker like, oh, like what do you think, like, is it okay, like how is it? But yeah, I mean, this has been great. We're pretty much at the end of it again.
Okay.
But
that was quick.
Time flew by quick. But thank you again, and of course, as always, where can people find you?
I have my own YouTube account called ShootTube. I have a Twitter account too. I do Instagram as well. I started Instagram pretty recently, so if you guys would like to follow that, please do. And
what is your Instagram?
Oh, Instagram.
Handle?
It's shushu524.
Cool.
So yeah.
And yeah, check out our channel. I enjoy the ones. I mean, a lot. Your videos are great, but ones where you like definitely like try like different food and stuff. I always find that very.
Oh, I love food.
A lot of fun.
Thank you,
man,
yeah.
maybe if I maybe next time you're on, we'll talk about food the entire time.
Yes,
I can talk
please.
about food
Yes,
forever.
please.
But yeah, thanks again. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you too.